Hi everyone. In today's video I'm going to explain to you how to use masking fluid. Masking fluid is the one product that we use before our painting begins to mask out the areas that we want to retain as white. I'm going to use two brands of masking fluid today, and I'm going to mask off the smaller circles on the page. This brand of masking fluid is called Kusakabe, and I bought it when I was in Japan. It is a Japanese brand. I like the look of it because it's got a long, narrow nozzle, so you can apply the masking fluid directly to the page without needing an applicator or brush to do so. I really am very pleased with how it works, and it really does go onto the page really easily, and it doesn't come rushing out of the hole at the end of the nozzle. It is quite easy to control, and I can easily get it into the circles that I am wanting to mask off. This is Winsor & Newton masking fluid. Because it comes with a screw top lid, you need to use some form of applicator to put it on the page. I have bought the purpose-made silicone brushes to do this. The brushes come in a pack of 4. You can't seem to buy them as singles, but I end up using the same pointed one every single time. And you can also use a toothpick to apply the masking fluid if you wish. Start by unscrewing the lid and pouring some of the masking fluid into a well or a holder. If there is some dry masking fluid on the inside of the bottle, either pour past it or use something like tweezers to grab a hold of it and pull it out. Masking fluid is essentially a liquid latex medium. This explains the rubbery texture that it has when it dries, and the reason why it is so easy to remove from the paper. Just some tips on the use of masking fluid. Make sure that you don't shake the bottle before you pour it out. Shaking the bottle will form bubbles inside the liquid, and that will cause it to thicken much quicker. We also don't use masking fluid directly from the bottle because we want to reduce the amount of time that the masking fluid inside the bottle is exposed to air. If we allow air into that bottle, all of the masking fluid inside is going to dry. So we pour a little bit out to use and seal the lid as quickly as we can. Then, as far as what tools to use to put the masking fluid on the paper, today I'm going to use a silicone brush and a toothpick. I have heard people say that you can take a normal paintbrush, cover it in dishwashing liquid, use your masking fluid, and then the masking fluid and the dishwashing liquid will just rinse off at the end. I have tried and lost one of my good brushes to this technique, so I'm really not prepared to take the risk again. I really am not having much success with the toothpick here. It is a little sharp, but breaking off the tip and making it slightly blunter does give me more success. When I'm finished applying the masking fluid, I don't pour the residual back into the bottle. I wait for it to dry, and then as you can see here, it easily peels off in a single piece. I'm also going to lay down some wispy lines with the masking fluid and then allow them to dry. Now that my masking fluid is dry, I can go over with my paint and paint over the entire area. Just make sure that the area is completely dry before you remove the masking fluid so that you don't get any paint smudged into the white areas. Make sure that you allow the paint to dry naturally and that you don't put any hairdryer or drying tool over the masking fluid. This can cause the masking fluid to go brittle and then tear your paper as you remove it. So if you use masking fluid at the beginning of a painting, you're not going to be able to use a hairdryer or an air dryer to dry any layers of that painting moving forward. Now that the paint is dry, I can remove the masking fluid. Some people use a tool like a magic eraser or an eraser to do this, but I find as long as my hands are clean and dry, rubbing it off with my finger works just fine. Just work gently, don't press too hard, and slowly roll the masking fluid off the painting. Out of these two brands of masking fluid that I'm using today, I find the Winsor & Newton one the easiest to remove. The two masking fluids yield exactly the same result. I like the applicator one for its convenience, but the Winsor & Newton one is the easiest to remove and I think will cause the least damage to any paper type. So out of the two, the Winsor & Newton is the one that I would buy again.